is Deion a sellout for taking this job? And since then, man, there's been some African American analysts to step up to the plate, man, and kind of speak their mind, but not trash Deion at the same time. But for example, Bomani Jones, a guy that I follow and I've been listening to and looking at for years, basically his comment was, Deion sold us a dream and Witten did the opposite, or something along those lines. You got Jason Whitlock, who I don't follow, but he,
thankfully,
yeah, but he came out and he was saying how, basically, yeah, same thing. Deion was selling us a bill of goods, and then the very first opportunity that he had to go to the white man, those are words that he's using now, that Deion went and basically was proving or saying that something about the ice, the ice is colder here than it is there. The ice is colder at Colorado than it is at Jackson State. And he just made different type of comments along those lines. So there have been people that are coming out and making firm statements on this. And a lot of the social media is actually taking Deion Sanders' side, and saying, hey, Deion is he had every right because it's you'll leave for a big check as well. He did all he could do for Jackson State. He was spending some of his own money at Jackson State. He propelled them in HBCU football. He done all that he had to do there, and now it was time to move on.
Yeah, there's just so many layers to it. I think that there was a part of him at Jackson State where he sort of embraced the role of a culture change. And I think, and the one thing that I stood out, when Travis Hunter committed to Jackson State, he did it. And his little, explain my decision post was very much in the lane of he was kind of following Deion to do something special. To build HBCUs up, to push them to another level, and to make it a viable option for 4- and 5-star guys,
right,
to go play their football there, make the league, and kind of change. I kind of accepted that to a degree, as well as kind of his mission. But I will be honest to say that, and we've talked about on this show, that there is no elevation if it's just Jackson State and it's just Deion. And if he builds a program of heavily recruited, talented guys and cuts through the SWAC like a hot knife through butter, there's no competition there. There's no elevation of HBCU football. There's one outlier school coached by Deion that has a better level of talent than the rest of the SWAC or HBCUs in general. And that's not compelling. That's not good. I mean, quite literally, it's not good for the kids on the team. Like, they need better competition to develop. You don't get great by playing, 9 45-10 games and maybe 2 or 3 close ones.
Yeah. And remember, I did push back on that as far as that. But also just hearing you say that again, yeah, but that's why we also say that he left before he could make a real impact. Yeah. Because the next step was to schedule better opponents.
Yeah. And there's a part of this that, when he was there, possibilities opened up. You're like, how good could you get at an HBCU? And that was compelling. That was an attractive story. And he made comments to suggest, I'm not there in the trenches yet, but the implication is maybe I can get there. And maybe we could play some Power 5 schools and shake things up. He wanted to go to a bowl game and things like that. Now, there's 2 ways to look at it. Is that he kind of jumped into this mission, and then at the first sign of bigger money, runs and goes to that. The other thing is maybe while we're looking at this and watching him and wondering how powerful this could be, he's going through it, realizing its limitations, and realizing I'm never going to get where I want to go in this situation. Whether it's the coaching salaries, the program funding, the logistics of getting bigger teams to play you, of convincing, interior trench guys to come and play at Jackson State. There's a whole myriad of things that he was probably experiencing firsthand that were probably suggesting to him, we ain't going to get where I want to go. This just is not going to happen.
And that could be. That's a valuable option that we don't know whether it's true or not. Yeah. But I would push back and say I just don't think that's the case. He had a top 50 offensive lineman that was already committed to coming to Jackson State, and now, of course, he switched the commitment. He's going to go to Colorado now. He had more more fish on the line there, as far as that is concerned. And this is my whole thing. First of all, I it's just hard not to be a Deion Sanders, at least to root for him if you're not a fan. I remember him from back in the day, especially his NFL career, if anything. And I do want to see Deion Sanders. I want to see him do well at Colorado. But two things can be true. I do think that he misled people. He misled the HBCU community. That's just what he did, man. He came in, first of all, Deion wanted to be a coach when he was just training kids out at parks, okay? You remember that? He had his own thing and foundation and stuff, and his own program. And he was screaming out that he wanted to be a coach. No one would give him an opportunity, but he was looking at the Florida States. He's looking at other schools. He's also even, took a couple calls with NFL. Everyone wanted him to be like a defensive backs coach. Or an assistant to the defensive backs coach. And Deion wanted a better chance, a better opportunity, bigger opportunity. He felt like his name, his knowledge, relegated for that. HBCU was the first and only opportunity that he had for a coaching position that he wanted. And when he came in and he took that, his main thing was HBCUs, we're going to change the culture. We're going to change the game. All right? And then he started telling recruits that, hey, the same thing that you're going over there to Alabama for, you can do that here. You're going to get the same exposure. You're going to get the same coaching and teaching and all of that. You're going to get that here. Or you want some NIL money? I can work with you and get you some of that. He was doing all of that on the back and on the name of HBCU. Like, he was tugging on it in every interview, every major spot. That's what he was doing.
Yeah.
So now to just totally, flip at like they said, man, the very first opportunity at PWI. It's so much implication on it, man, that yes, what they have at the HBCU level is not enough. Not even for a person that came in there to shift culture, so he says. It's not enough even for him. If it's not enough for him, then who the fuck is going to be enough for?
Right.
You know what I mean? And it goes way back to, of course, when all the top athletes were going to HBCUs, and the white colleges wanted to get better at football. And their main thing was, we need to pull some of these black kids out of these schools. You know what I mean? And bring them here so we can be as good as, we want to be. So they started pulling these kids out, but they didn't pull the black coaches out. They didn't pull any of these black athletic trainers and the infrastructure. All they did was pull the players out. So, but they didn't, shoot HBCUs in their head and say you can't play football anymore. But when you take all the best players, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
No, exactly.
And so now they have a coach who they prop out and take out, but the coach who is, trending and towards and was looking towards bringing a lot of more of that top black talent back down to HBCUs. No, we cannot have that. We can't do that. We have to pull them out, and it fucking worked. And it's been working for the last 30, 40 years. And then, like I said, you got the people on social media say, what was you doing? It's a $5 million check versus the $300,000 that he's getting or whatever. And yeah, man, I'm from Edenville, Florida. I'm going to take the fucking money too. Shame on me too. I'm not blaming Deion for taking the money. Do what you got to do for your finances and for your money. But don't tell us it's for something, like it's for another reason. Don't sit there and tell us I'm here to shift culture and to change the game for HBCU football. He literally told us that.
Yeah. Just say this is the first place to give me a head coaching job I want, and I'm going to do as well as I can so I can move on.
In so many words, that's not the ways you can say that.
Yeah,
you don't have to say it like that, but I mean, nobody else has to say anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, it's 1,000 black coaches in HBCU football. They don't have to make statements like that, but
right.
You know,
Right.
I don't know. So that's my only thing I could see. I mean, I guess I'm a guy that sees both sides because I do understand him taking a $5 million check. And, of course, I'm sure it comes with all types of fucking bonuses. And maybe he can restructure after a year or two for even more money depending on records. There's probably all types of stuff.
I don't like – I mean – I don't know. I mean, I tend to not – I'm not a get the bag guy. And so I don't look at this necessarily as – you know, just $5 million versus $300,000. I look at it as, and to me, I don't feel Colorado's a good job. They're 1-11. They're in a conference, the Pac-12, that's losing their best teams, highest profile teams, you know, and probably have a very slim chance of getting in the Final Four anytime in the future. But I'm sorry, but again, they changed the playoff format, so you're actually fine. You know, here's the deal. Deion, like most people, is self-interested. He's betting on himself. He bet on himself by turning down assistant jobs at the Power 5 level, you know, to be a head guy. He waited. Jackson State gave him the opportunity. He believed he'd do something special there, and he did. Now he goes to Colorado. It's not a power blue blood school. They haven't been good in 3 decades. And he's going there and hiring a 1-11 team on the pure belief that his buzz, his allure, his cachet is going to attract enough significant players that, you know, that he can have the type of team that can contend for titles. And again, I had to eat my own words because the reality is the playoff format is expanding. And there's going to be better opportunities for Colorado to get in that 12-team playoff. And when you get in that 12-team playoff, and if you have a loaded roster, it's anybody's ball game, no matter what.
Yeah.
So,
and guess what? He probably will.
Yeah.
And it's not that those people in that camp, it's not that they don't believe that to be true. It's that they do believe that to be true. And that's the thing. It's just that I guess they can't comprehend why you can't do that over here if your goal is to do that over there. And then that's when we get down to, okay, resources is a big answer. And that to go along with, you know, for me, like you said, you know, for Deion, it's, you know, it's my earning and my paycheck, but also they giving me more room to play with, more room to get the assistant coaches around me that I want. I can pay them now. More room to have on the recruiting trail where I can allocate more dollars towards recruiting, towards, you know, facilities and things like that.
I mean, he is a complete anomaly right now. His brand is sort of unprecedented in college football.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there was talk of like 200 kids reached out to Colorado, wanting to play there. Yeah. You know, I mean, he steps in and I guess there's a whole speech that I missed, but the part that was there was, you know, he was like, hey, I'm coming here. I brought my own luggage. It's really good. And most of you guys need to get in the portal. Yeah. Like that type of honesty and direction is actually admirable. Yeah. You know, and he probably knows, I'm bringing my son and I'm bringing Travis and a couple others, but there's a whole country of people now. They got a commitment from a 5-star guy at IMG, a receiver. And again, like, if he has the ability to pull the players that he appears to, like, you need to create space for those players in the 85. And you need to get some of these Colorado guys that are underperforming the hell off the roster. The hell off the scholarship count so that you can build that roster quickly. And the way the rules are with the portal and transferring and not waiting a year, the situation is ripe for a massive turnaround. Yeah. You know, I mean, the more I thought about it, I think other bigger pedigreed schools are going to regret not going all in to get him.
I mean, it wasn't even all in. I mean, just go and get him. Yeah. You can literally tell. I mean, no one else made a effort to go do so. I mean, USF and Colorado, you know,
Cincinnati apparently. There's 3.
Cincinnati, yeah.
Yeah, but no, like why? Yeah, why? I mean, why did Auburn not go there? They hired Hugh Freeze, and Hugh Freeze is a guy that, like, from a moral man of character standpoint, is a fucking turd. He's not a good person.
Right.
Like he's just kind of a shitbird. Deion, stylistically, I don't know, maybe you don't like him, but I mean, he this is a guy that's never really been caught in any significant scandal of any kind. He's not a drinker. He's not a drug guy. He's a kind of a Bible thumping guy, and something, I mean, there's not a character flaw to say, God, we don't want this guy in our organization.